Welcome to my stock scanner. Today we're going to have a quick look at Tesla since they had their earnings yesterday, and there have been some debate as to if that was good or bad. First, when the numbers came out just after the close, then we saw on the chart that Tesla went down in the mid 370s here, and then it started to go up again. And what I'm going to have a look at today is why. Why, with the numbers that came out of Tesla, did the market go up? Well, first of all, let's have a look at it. Tesla misses earnings estimates on weak sales and thinning profit margins. Now that doesn't look too good, does it? No, but well then there must have been something else, and there were definitely, because after the earnings came out, there was of course an earnings call, and there Elon Musk started to do what he does best. He started to talk about the future. Now let's have a look at Tesla, how the estimates have changed over the year. If you can see the dark line here, that is the earnings estimates in the beginning of January 2024. The estimates here were about $3.40 per share, and when we ended the year, the estimates were more like $2.09, meaning that it was almost cut in half, or at least 30-40% of the estimates were cut off. Now you would expect that with estimates like this, and you can see it's the same picture with the 2025 and 2026 estimates, with a picture like that you would expect the stock to drop. Well, it didn't. It went up a lot. And I know a lot of the gains here was from back in November when Trump were elected, because people were expecting that to give Elon Musk and Tesla a boost. Now let's have a bit of a look at this, because what happened at the earnings call was that Elon Musk started talking about new models. They were coming out with their Model Y this year. Also, he kept talking about that cheaper model that they would come out with later this year, or maybe 2026. And then he started to talking about the Optimus humanoid robots, about full self-driving, etc., etc. Now, what puzzles me a bit is that people keep believing that. I'm sorry to say it. I wouldn't go so far as to call Elon Musk a complete liar, but he has a bit of things when he promises stuff, it doesn't always come true. Now there are a lot of history here, and I'll go through some of it, but let's have a quick look at the earnings first. First of all, the earnings that actually did come out, we can see that 40% of that is from selling regulatory credits. That basically means that 40% of Tesla's profit comes directly from the government. Sounds a bit funny now that he's a leader of Doge that has the focus on minimizing these governmental spendings. I suspect that won't hit Tesla, but let's say it did. And Trump has been out saying that these credits should disappear. If they do, then 40% of Tesla's earnings are gone. Moreover, 26% of the earnings the last quarter here, $600 million, came from a Bitcoin profit jump after there have been some changes in how to account for these digital assets, and 600 million, or quarter of all the earnings in the last quarter, came from Bitcoins. So let's say that after Q3 there have been no Bitcoin gains, and Trump had been elected 3 months before, and he went out saying no tax credits. That would have cut something like 2/3 of Tesla's profits, meaning there were basically nothing left. That should upset investors, if you ask me, but it doesn't, because they believe in what Tesla says, or what Musk says. First of all, he's talking about full self-driving. They will have full self-driving just in a second. Well, he's been saying that for 10 or 12 years. And he said himself, let me just see if I can find the article here. An old article of Elon Musk saying that basically let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Elon Musk, and this was in 2022, says that solving self-driving is the difference between Tesla being worth a lot or nothing. I'm not sure that Tesla will be worth nothing, even if they don't solve the full self-driving. But this was Elon's statement about 2.5 years ago. If we don't get full self-driving right, and he also said in the interview that it basically took for Tesla to get monopoly on the area. Well, if they didn't get that, then the stock would basically be worth zero. So are they winning it? Are they getting full self-driving right? No, they're not. Right now, they are only focusing on cameras. And all experts, except the ones hired by Tesla, of course, says that cameras are fine, but you can never get to 100% full self-driving. Meaning that Tesla is stuck somewhere around level 2 or 3 in the full self-driving spectrum that goes up to level 5. The ones that are solving it, and I know there are some caveats here, because for instance, the Google-owned Waymo, they are mainly driving in areas where they've done something called geofencing, and there are some other stuff. But Waymo, a couple of Chinese competitors, and now also Rivian are aiming for full self-driving in 2026, I think it is. So Waymo in itself, and this is a bit of an old article, so they are actually driving around 200,000 trips per week on full self-driving taxi tours. And I guess that number will get up to around 500,000 sometimes this year, meaning they're getting all the experience. But what they're doing is they're using a lot more than cameras. They're using LiDAR and radar and sound sensors and vibration sensors and all sort of stuff. And that is expensive. Elon Musk had the choice to put that in his cars 5-7 years ago, but he turned it down because it was too expensive. And yes, it is. The fact is just that all experts, outside the ones on Tesla, say you need that stuff to get to full self-driving. So that is a bit of a problem. Tesla's full self-driving can't actually drive that far. Well, they did a test. This is from September 2024. So what, 3, 4, 5 minutes old, months old, of course. And you can see they had a fairly easy test route. It was not a complicated route. They drove 1,000 miles. And in that time, there had to be interventions by humans 75 times. That's once every, 12, 13 miles, something like that. That is not a full self-driving I would like to leave my life in the hands of as of right now. So no, Tesla is not there. And, well, if we believe Elon, they will be there within the next 12 to 18 months, which he has said every single year since, 2015, 2016? So, excuse me for not believing too much in it. We can see the numbers from Waymo here. They actually had some numbers, and these are more than a year old, where they can see that there is in the taxi space, full self-driving taxis, there is a reduction in injury-causing crash rates at 85% compared Waymo compared to a human driver, and 57% reduction in police-reported crash rates. And now even here, and this has not something to do only with the Tesla, but even if Tesla solved this full self-driving thing, then there's a problem with people not really trusting it. Because if you get into a taxi and it has to get you safely to where you want to be, well, 2/3 of the people are afraid to do that. And another quarter are saying, nah, we're not really sure. So basically, it's less than 1 in 10 people that say that they trust this tech well enough to actually put their life in the hands of it. So that's the tech part. Then, of course, there is a new model. And I've heard a lot of talk about that. People are saying, yes, the new Model Y is so much better. That is why the numbers have gone a bit down in 2024, because people are waiting for the new enhanced model. All right. Well, that might be. Here's a comparison between the two models. I know this is just the visuals. Does this look revolutionary to you just on a visual basis? What about this one? Yeah, it is two different cars. The handles are a bit in other places. The lighting is a bit different. What about from the side here? Yeah, well, there's a bit about the windows and the wheels. Inside the interior, okay, it looks a bit more slick. However, this is of course not what people are buying. They're buying the tech. It should be better tech. Okay. Well, first of all, what are they paying for it? The old model, just above $31,000. The new enhanced model, there that is 50% more, almost $46,500, and that is in a market that is extremely competitive and where the Chinese cars are just being pumped out at lower and lower and lower prices, meaning that Tesla would probably have to lower these numbers quite quickly if they want to sell anything. Then there's another thing. There is a range, and that is what people are buying. And I know Elon said back in 2018 that they actually already had a Tesla that could drive 1,000 kilometers. What is that? That's 600 miles. 600 miles on one charging. And that is a bit unfair, I think, that he keeps that car to himself, because the cars he's selling, they're not improving at all. This one, well, 280 to 330 miles. The new one, 303 to 320. That is not an improvement. That is the same. You're just getting a 50% price hike here. Then when you look down through the different, you get an extra camera, you get some extra screens inside. But to be honest, this is not really something that, if I were a Tesla buyer, which I'm not, I would probably go with a second-hand old Y model instead of this one. But then again, I'm not a Tesla buyer, so maybe that is completely different. All right, so what's the case here? Well, we can have a look at Elon Musk's over-promising. And just from the top of my head, he promised a Roadster once. He got $250 million in pre-order fees in, and he never delivered the Roadster. He basically just got an interest-free loan of $250 million. He promised the semi-truck, which should be able to drive 1 million miles without any repair. Many of them have been withdrawn because within 3 months their braking systems are completely destroyed. And he promised tens of thousands of these trucks, and they don't have a fraction of it running out on the road. There was the solar roofs that were to deliver 25% of all energy in the United States. That's not really happening. Then the full self-driving I have talked about. They would put humans on Mars in, I think it was 2022 first, and then it was 2024 or 5, so that's about it. And even before that, they would put someone on the moon. Well, that is not happening. They can catch their own rocket now, but they can't really bring any cargo into space, and they have problems with the rockets. He promised space hotels, the Hyperloop system, 1 million robotaxis, the Optimus robot, the AI Grok, the Dojo supercomputer that apparently should make Tesla $500 billion extra worth. That one has completely disappeared. And when I way back told people in my videos and articles and said, guys, it's hot air, I were yelled at by people saying, oh, you don't know anything about supercomputers or Tesla. Well, no, I might not be the expert, but I am soon the expert on Elon Musk and his promises. And to be honest, hot air. Then there are the satellites. He's actually doing well with his internet connections, so I'll give him that. There was a Neurotech, which is not really allowed anywhere. There was a Boring, the tunnel company, which is a bit of a disaster. And I could go on and on and on. Could it be that he's right, that they're solving full self-driving, that they're solving robotics and everything? He might be. It would just be a first. And they're not the only one in full self-driving. They have competitors. In the robotic space, they are, I think, number 40 on a list of 40 of the most promising humanoid robotics companies. And I could go on and on and on. So they might get these products out on the market. They will probably just not be the winners on each of the techs. All right, going into my stock scanner, let's have a quick look at Tesla, because I actually like the quality. You can see that the revenue is growing. I know there's a lot of government grants and tax credits in there, but still they're there. Their earnings per share, well, it took a dive here in 2024. It was even a larger dive than this one. We don't have the newest numbers here. And now analysts are expecting 31% growth in earnings per share next year. I'm not sure about that, but let's just let that slide for the case of it. Looking down here, they have their margins are slipping, and the margins are one of the things that people said in the beginning. Tesla should be insanely high earning priced simply because of the high margins. Yeah, well, if that's the case, then that is not really the case anymore. They don't have the highest earnings. Several of the other companies, car companies, have gone past them. But basically, all in all, it's an okay company. It's a quality company. If it was fairly priced, I would consider buying the stock. However, looking at our value chart, you can see here that with the earnings expected in 24 and 25, and I know this got a bit lower, this might be right, but even here, if we let these numbers stand, if I put a price earning at 35, 50 and 65 in, even a price earning at 65 would give Tesla a minus 45% drop in price. Now, I know it's selling higher than 65. It's selling at a price earning right now at 107. Meaning you're paying $107 for every dollar of profit it shows. It's insane. If they had tech that were actually already selling, like Novo Nordisk, they have their weight loss medicine that is actually selling, and that they have trouble producing enough for the customer demand, then I would say, yeah, pay a higher price earning. But if you have a history of a CEO lying or at least exaggerating about what will happen in the future for the last 12 years in a row, not delivering a single thing of the actual thing he promised, then I would say 107 is a bit of a mirage to invest into. Anyway, let's say we even put it at 107. We put a price earning at 107. If we multiply the price earning by the actual earnings per share, then we get the price. So in this case, if they make what analysts think they will in 25, which I think they won't, and if investors are willing to pay a price earning of 107, then they would still drop 10%. What would it take? I saw an analyst saying it will go to 600 here in 25. Okay, that might be. Let's see how much the price earnings should go up before the green price here actually goes to 600. As you can see, it's growing. We are getting to more and more insane price earning numbers. I'm not saying this couldn't happen. The thing is that to get to 600, people should be willing to pay a P of 185, which is insane, but it could happen. It could even be 200 or 300 or 500. And in that case, if investors were willing to pay a price at 500, well, it would still go up by 318%. Fantastic. I just don't believe in it. The other car companies are selling at a price earning around 10, 12-ish. So this is 5 times higher. Even my bear case is 3 times higher than the other car companies. And I know you might say, Tesla's not a car company, it's a tech company. Well, then start producing income from other things than cars. When Tesla have 80% of their income from AI and humanoid robots and full self-driving software, I'll give it to you. Yes, it's not a car company. But when they are producing the profit from selling cars, excuse me for calling it a car company. That's what I'll call it for now. I might change my opinion in the future. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy Tesla, because you're welcome to, and it might go to 10,000. I'm just saying that it's not logical. It's not based in anything. And if we look at the price, I thought it was expensive even here in November. And then people are saying, yes, we are geniuses for investing in Tesla because look at how much it went up. Yeah, well, the only reason why it went up was because they hoped that Elon Musk and Trump's friendship would grant Tesla some massive advantages. Maybe that some of the many states in the United States that have declined Tesla a license for full self-driving caps because, well, it runs into all sort of stuff. Well, he might get these licenses because of, I don't know, Trump. But if that's not the case, then all of this gain here is hot air. If it turns out that Elon Musk is not gaining any advantages from being close to Trump, well, then you can take the price from here on and back to November 5th here and say then at least that's a 33% cut. So let Elon show that all his tech come through, and I will gladly consider buying into Tesla. Until then, it'll be a no thank you from this part. That's all for now. Bye for now.